Happening now, the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak here locally, plus what we know about a new plan to reopen New York State.
And snow showers have been falling across the area this morning and, of course, this afternoon. But more wintertime air is on the way. I have the full forecast coming up as the news at noon starts now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. The Cattaraugus County Health Department was notified of their 30th confirmed case of COVID-19 yesterday. Officials say the case involves a female healthcare worker who resides in the northeastern part of the county. That worker is now resting at home and under quarantine with her family. So far, 12 people there have recovered from the virus and 18 cases remain active. Meanwhile, back at home in Chautauqua County, health department officials reported no new cases of the virus yesterday. So far, there are 27 confirmed cases with 2 active and 22 people have recovered. Senator George Borrello and Assemblyman Andy Goodell's plan for a phased-in reopening of New York State has been submitted to the governor's office. Borrello, who was a guest during Congressman Tom Reed's teleconference with reporters this morning, told WNY News Now that reopening the state's economy should be based on both the public health interest and the economy itself.
My fear is that the governor is going to look at this through a political lens, knowing that opening up upstate New York is going to create political problems for him downstate. So I just want him to recognize that, if I was in a car and I was running out of gas and somebody had a gallon of gas to give me, I would take the gallon of gas. I wouldn't hope that I could coast to the next gas station. And if the governor doesn't allow at least parts of the state to reopen, we're going to run out of gas quickly.
Now, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo recently extended the state's pause initiative until May 15th. During this morning's statewide update, the governor explained that the state will reopen with regional approaches, with Western New York's leadership coming from Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul.
And if a situation is radically different in one part of the state than another part of the state, take that into consideration. And that's what we're going to be doing. So the same logic that applies to the country applies to some states, this state, where you have those varieties across the state. And we need to take that into consideration. So the way we've been working on the economy in general across the state, where we recognized there's one state, yes, but there are regional economies within the state, and we've been working with each individual regional economy. We'll do the same thing on this phase. Let's talk about reopening economies in that regional context.
The governor also announced today that some hospitals in upstate New York will now be allowed to hold elective outpatient surgeries. Well, it's been 3 months since the United States' first confirmed case of coronavirus was reported. The economic toll continues to mount, and some governors say they don't have resources they need to safely get business going again. Karen Caifa has the latest from Washington.
A sticking point, negotiations over more funding for small business loans.
The Senate, regretfully, will not be able to pass more funding for Americans' paychecks today.
Money for coronavirus testing will be included in the relief bill, but Democrats want the White House to commit to a national strategy for the testing. Many governors have been asking for federal help.
Testing is going to require everyone to work together.
With supplies, too.
All those things in between that you need, like swabs and viral transport medium and RNA extractor reagent. And then you've got to run those machines with lab techs.
Vice President Pence spoke with governors Monday.
We assured the governors today that we're going to continue to work around the clock to expand the testing capacity.
Still, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan said Monday his state acquired 500,000 tests from South Korea.
We've been doing everything in our power to acquire more tests from the federal government. Unfortunately, we have also had to compete with every state in America.
Meanwhile, the White House Coronavirus Task Force says it continues to be concerned about hotspots like the Chicago and Boston metro areas. But some states say they're ready to begin reopening.
We will get Georgians back to work safely without undermining the progress that we all have made.
Governor Brian Kemp says gyms, nail salons, and barber shops are among the Georgia businesses that can open as early as Friday. I'm Karen Kafa reporting.
All right, Karen, thank you. Now, later today, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is scheduled to visit the White House to speak with President Trump directly about the COVID-19 outbreak. Well, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved at-home testing for COVID-19. This morning, the agency reissued an emergency use authorization for LabCorp to permit testing of samples that were self-collected by patients at home using their home collection kit. Now, the kit includes a specific Q-tip style cotton swab for patients to use to collect their sample. Now, due to concerns with sterile and cross-reactive due to inherent genetic materials in those swabs, officials say no other cotton swab should be used to conduct the test. Well, while social distancing is keeping many physically apart, it has not stopped the Jamestown High School Red Raider Marching Band from performing together. Over 70 members of the band recently played together virtually. Take a look. Wow, that's pretty awesome. If you remember, last week, students in northern Chautauqua County put together a similar video playing together, even though they are physically apart. Well, we hope you are having a good Tuesday, and we thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of the novel coronavirus outbreak and getting you the latest updated local information. Gotta say hello to Brenda. Good to see you on the broadcast. Hello to Nicholas as well. Good afternoon to David. Good afternoon to Scott, Pam, and Tina as well. Hopefully you're all having a good day. And Donna says, JHS, great job with the Pride. And really, they really are doing an amazing job. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us now with more. And Dakota, as a JHS grad yourself, must be pretty proud to see the band come together, albeit physically apart, together to perform some of that great music that they're really known for.
Indeed. And, you know, JHS, I'm not saying it because, you know, I graduated in 2012 there, but, you know, JHS has some of the best, you know, sports teams, has some of the best marching band members. Of course, you know, can't be any more proud of them, especially during this time and, you know, a lot of things that are happening right now. Here's a live look coming from Presque Isle Beach. Now, the beach is actually closed as of right now. It's temporarily closed due to, obviously, the current situation, but the camera bouncing there. And, yeah, you probably don't want to go out on the beach. 38 with a west wind of 20. The peak wind gust at this camera site so far is 39 miles per hour. And yeah, you can see the lake water there fluffing it up there with that west wind. And yeah, we've had snow showers, you know, falling this morning. Did you see any snow? You know, it's kind of almost kind of like a joke at this point when you start, I mean, you know, it's April 21st and we're talking about snow. It's not that uncommon, but again, this will continue through the afternoon in pockets today, and temperatures definitely are way below average to where they should be. The high yesterday was 48. We were able to squeak that out, we were actually not too far from the average low this morning. 57 and 17 are in the record books for today, but the average high now is up to 60, and we're not seeing that anytime soon. So sorry, There it is for you. Rain and snow early today will become all snow for the afternoon in pockets. Any accumulation an inch or less, and the best chance for that inch is going to be on the highest hills of the southern tier. Windy, the temperature falls. Highs have already occurred today. This is where we're going to be 30 to 35 with a west wind 15 to 30, and some wind gusts could be 35 to 40 miles per hour at times. A little bit more snow is on the way, but is there any sign of spring? We'll talk about it with the 7-day later in the show. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joins us live to talk about the COVID-19 outbreak here in the city. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
This is Christine Schuyler, Chautauqua County Public Health Director, with a very important message. We need you to make every effort to protect yourselves and our healthcare workers. If you absolutely don't need to go out, don't. If you have a mild cold or flu-like symptoms, with or without a fever, stay home. If your symptoms are severe, call your healthcare provider. Do not go to the emergency room or urgent care. Do not call 911 or go to the ER unless you are experiencing a life-threatening emergency. The best ways you can help prevent the spread of COVID-19 are to wash your hands often with soap and water, cover your cough, avoid close contact with others. Please stay home.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joining us live on the broadcast now. Mayor Sundquist, thanks so much for being here with us today. I first want to kind of get your reaction. Just this morning, a little late breaking news on the show. Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing now that it looks like he's taking a regional approach to reopening the state during his morning press conference update. For you, how does this news sit? I know that there's been a lot of discussion on various levels of government as to how we should reopen, what's the best way to reopen. For you as the mayor of Jamestown, what do you think in regards to that process?
Well, Justin, I appreciate being here, and we did listen to the governor earlier this morning in regards to his plan for reopening New York State. I agree with it. I think that a regional approach is probably a sound way to do it, but any approach needs to be based on facts. The number of cases that are in an area, the number of potential need for healthcare locations, supplies, things like that. I think all of that needs to be taken in consideration. But I do agree with the fact that this is really a regional approach. We see a lot of our citizens here going up to Buffalo, into Erie County, Niagara County, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus. We're all kind of intermingling in terms of getting services and working with one another, doing business with one another. And so taking it as one region makes a lot of sense, as long as we are in coordination with the other regions around us. And it sounds like the governor is looking to do that, to put certain people in place to help open up those regions and make sure there's coordination with the state across all regions.
And I know that coordination has really been the story, not just here, but pretty much all across the country as different levels try to work together to deal with the pandemic. I think it was last week, you signed on with a letter for other mayors from New York State urging our representatives at the federal level to support legislation that would try to help some local governments who are dealing with financial troubles because of COVID-19. Specifically, why are you urging that legislation to go through?
Well, I think the first thing we need to recognize that we bailed out a lot of different corporations and companies. We're helping our small businesses to continue during this difficult time. But the one thing that we typically forget is our local municipalities. We as a city maintain a public safety force, police, fire, all on a very limited tax base. And we've had to call in more people. We've had to expend more money on supplies. And we are receiving little to no reimbursement for those things. So one of the things that my team has identified is a potential budget gap of anywhere from $1 million to $4 million this year alone in loss of sales tax revenue and other revenues. We need to make that up somehow. But more importantly, we're calling on the federal government to do its job and come and help municipalities when they've been shouldering the burden of dealing with the COVID-19 crisis, especially here in the city of Jamestown.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably some big problems that could come from having that huge budget gap. What specifically are you looking for from the federal government? Would it be some sort of assistance type where cities could apply for? Or is this something where we've seen the stimulus checks going to citizens? Is it something where the government federally would give out some funding to cities and municipalities?
One of the things we've been talking to our representatives about, our congressional delegation, is really providing municipalities direct funding, being able to tap into money to help with the budget gap, to help respond to the COVID-19 crisis. There is some FEMA reimbursement that is being made available to cities, but that's at a rate of 75%. So even if we apply for a reimbursement through FEMA, which is specific to just COVID-19 supplies and actions, we still have to make up a 25% gap from FEMA funding. We add that to the money that we're going to lose in sales tax, which could be anywhere from 10 to 35%. To put that in perspective, the city of Jamestown budgets for about $6.5 million in sales tax a year. You take a hit of even 10, 20, or 30%, you're looking at $1 to $2 million. When we add that to other miscellaneous lost revenue, we could be looking upwards to $4 million. We're not the only city that's having this problem. I talked to mayors across New York State, and they're all saying the same thing. We're going to be facing a significant budget gap, but we still provide all of the services to keep our citizens safe during this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Shifting gears a little bit, last week your office closed playgrounds and basketball courts in an attempt to combat the virus. Since then, how have residents responded to that? Have people been abiding by the new rules?
Absolutely. We've had a few cases where individuals were still found playing on some of the basketball courts. We've responded appropriately. We've provide warnings. For the most part, our citizens are doing what we've asked them to do from the beginning. We raised the red flag of this virus very early on and asked people to stay home, to stop any type of non-essential travel, and they've mostly done that. And I will tell you that from what I can see, the numbers reflect that here. In the greater Jamestown area, we don't have a lot of cases at all, and in fact, little to no active cases currently. Of the 6 cases we've had as of today, or as of yesterday, almost all have recovered. So it is a testament to what the people of Jamestown have done. They've listened to the warnings. They've stayed home. They've maintained their distance. We've taken action to ensure that as well. But I'm proud of what our residents have been doing, and proud that they've been stopping the spread here in the city.
And to that point, the flattening the curve, we hear it pretty much every day that's the goal. In regards to Jamestown and really the greater area in general, it seems like the last few days we haven't been seeing new cases reported. For you as mayor and leader of the city, what does that say to the work that everyone has been trying to do?
Well, I think it says that we are almost there, right? We're almost to the point where we have flattened the curve and we've moved on. But I do want to let our residents know we are not out of the woods yet. There's still a possibility that we start to reopen, we start to have large gatherings, we start to get people together. You're going to see a spike. And that's the one thing that we do not want to see. So I just ask our residents to continue to stay diligent, stay the course. We will get through this together. We still have some hard times ahead, I mean, we're looking at, a little bit less than a month of where we need to continue doing what we're doing. But I know that if we do that safely, we then will be able to enjoy the summer months and start to really open things back up, start to enjoy each other's company once again. And that's coming. But we got to take hard actions and continue taking hard actions now.
Last week, during Chautauqua County's COVID update, which they provide every Friday in a form of a live streaming press conference, I asked the county's health director, Christine Schuyler, kind of about the changes that we've seen and why it's gotten to this point now. Looking at the city and looking at the community and really our lifestyle, our habits, the way that we live, what for you does the future look like? This is the tough question that I think everyone's trying to say and ask right now and have an answer to, because yeah, we're wearing masks now. Everyone seems to be cleaning well, but going forward, I've heard mayors of Los Angeles, for example, saying they don't expect things to get back to normal until maybe next year. What does the future look like? Is society going to be different?
I think for now, society will be different, especially going into this year and the rest of this year. I think we're going to become more cautious about who we're interacting with and how we're interacting with it. Hopefully, we become more cautious about washing our hands and maintaining some safe distance. But I think you're right. I think you're looking at nothing really coming back to normal for several months from now and really into the end of this year. It is something that we will need to face. It's something that as a community and as a world we have faced before in other pandemics. Definitely not in recent memory, but it's something that we need to continue being diligent about, listening to our healthcare professionals about, and doing the things we need to do to stay safe. Nothing is more important than the lives of our residents and the lives of people, and we want to make sure we heed that warning to save lives here.
And several local businesses and community members seem to be rallying during this time. Recently, you along with first responders went to UPMC Chautauqua Hospital to show your support for staff. Basil and Bones and several other restaurants now are starting to provide free meals to them. As mayor of the city, how do you reflect on that?
It really touches my heart, right? It warms my heart to see the reaction that this community is having to pitch in, to help one another, to really get us through these difficult times. I can tell you, I was excited to go to the Chautauqua Place and be a part of their celebration of their workers and UPMC and the celebration of the work that they do. But you're starting to see, as you mentioned, other businesses jump in and really support the community. I know we've seen here in the city of Jamestown, Pace's Pizza. People are donating pizza to different first responders. And it is a wonderful thing to see that we as one community recognize the difficult times we're in and want to support one another. And I couldn't be prouder of the city of Jamestown. I've said that in op-eds in the newspaper. I've said that on this program before. This is an incredible time for the city, and I'm proud to be able to lead the city during this time.
And really, everybody is in this fight together. We all truly are affected by this. Whether you are now working from home or working in a different capacity, if you're an essential worker, and certainly living rooms are becoming classrooms now for a lot of families as parents are taking on more roles than just being a parent. How has the COVID outbreak affected your life?
Well, I still have to come into work. So they tell me I'm an essential employee, so I still keep coming in. But it is difficult because we have a lot of our department heads, our essential employees. They still come in. We still need to have city government moving forward. We still have to protect the health and well-being of our citizens. So for me personally, I see a lot of my day is spent on Zoom meetings and conference calls, trying to make sure we get the word out, communication to our public when things start to change or when we see issues. Dealing with our departments is also part of it. But my day is probably more consumed with how do we make sure we keep our public safe than ever before. And that's been a really incredible thing. No one expected that, a couple months into a mayorship that I would be dealing with an international pandemic. But I will tell you, I have a fantastic team of people that really support the work that we do. I think we've got some great council members that are helping to calm the community during this time. And I couldn't be prouder.
And Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist on the broadcast today. Mayor, thank you so much. Finally, I wanted to get your thoughts on yesterday on the show. We reported that there's going to be a type of a standing protest come next Friday at Dow Park, where some residents are going to speak out because they feel that some of the restrictions here, and especially from the state level, that sort of the lack of when the end date would be, and they're going to be holding a protest in regards to that. What is your thought and message to those people who are getting a little antsy now?
Well, I definitely understand being antsy. I definitely understand the frustration that's involved. But at this time, we all need to do our part. And that part is just staying home. That part is making sure that we are maintaining social distance. I am a great defender of your right to assemble, of your right to protest. But during this time, the way you can protest is by staying home, by doing things virtually. Don't start to gather in a square. Don't start to do those things, because that is what is going to peak. That is what is going to create a spread here in our community. I do want to remind folks that, going out, being in the park, walking around, we love that. We want to encourage that. We want to encourage the social distance, keep moving. But when you start to everyone gathering in one area, it starts to violate executive orders from the state of New York against social gathering protocols. And I definitely don't want to have to kick people out or stop them from the right to protest. But if they're not following the law, I'll take whatever action I need to take in conjunction with our public safety to ensure that we do not have any additional spread of a disease here in the city of Jamestown.
And I know previously you've said that parks are open for that safe social distancing. You can walk with masks. Yep. If you see someone coming down the street, I know the governor has said, just put your mask on, pass them. When you're 6 feet apart, go ahead and take that off. In regards to next Friday's scheduled protest, when people do assemble, do you plan to have any sort of response to that? Or depending on the size of the group, will that adjust to the response from the city?
Well, we're monitoring the situation very closely, and we'll definitely see what happens. But at this point, we're encouraging residents just to stay home. There's no need to come out and protest. It is more effective for you to start writing letters to our elected officials. It's more effective for you to start making phone calls to our elected officials than it would be to gather together in one group, risking an entire community to protest that right. I'd rather see you all calling, sending letters, sending emails. That is more effective right now in this time than a large protest. So we will act accordingly or as necessary. We'll definitely warn folks if there is a violation of the governor's executive order. But we just want to encourage people just to stay home. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life. It's not worth your children's lives, and it's not worth risking our community.
All right, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joining us on the broadcast today to talk about the city's COVID-19 response. Mayor Sundquist, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now let's get a check of our weather with Dakota.
Well, let's start off with a live image coming from the Sky Vision Camera Network. That's coming from the Warren City Bank in downtown Warren. We've got a few snowflakes falling there. Look at the wind, west at 13. The peak gust there was 28 miles per hour. 44 was the high today. That's not a typo. That is today's high temperature. The highs have already occurred today. 44, 51 in Dunkirk, 53 over in Erie, 38 in Olean. So say goodbye to those because that's not where we're at right now. Right now, as of noon hour, we're at 34 here in Morgantown, 34 in Mayville, 38 Fredonia, 41 Dunkirk, 41 over in Erie. But it's not so much the temperatures, it is the wind. It is breezy out there. 29 miles per hour is the current wind gust right now in Jamestown, 25 Dunkirk, 25 Fredonia, and also 25 over in Erie. And the winds will be up today. You'll notice it today. Lunchtime, 12:30, we're rolling around to that time. So here's what you can expect. 33 degrees, snowflakes at times, but very cold for the kids at lunchtime. It's 12:30 now. Lunchtime. I'm sure a lot of parents right now are probably getting lunch ready for their kids right now, hard at work right now. Satellite and radar composite shows you that north to northwest flow. Notice the clouds coming in. So with that north to northwest flow means colder air, and yeah, colder air means snow. This is some of that snow that, of course, you saw on the camera in downtown Warren that is passing north of Warren, basically south of Sheffield, going into Elk County, Pennsylvania. And then as we move into the southern tier here, and again, notice these spotty snow showers popping up here. This is going to be the case throughout the day today. So scattered snow showers. It's not going to be anything widespread, and accumulations will be little. We'll show it to you on Future Scan. Notice that north to northwest wind flow driving a few more of those snow showers through the day. Again, less than an inch of accumulation through the day, and another less than an inch tonight. If anybody sees an inch, it's going to be on the highest hills of the southern tier. Most everybody should not have much snow to measure. Tomorrow, a few snow showers, should be mainly dry. Then we get into our next storm system that comes our way Thursday and Friday. We'll keep tabs on that. Storm spotter training, they actually added a new session 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Plus, they also have the one at 7 p.m. tomorrow. And again, it's free to register. Just go to weather.gov/BUF/Skywarn to sign up for these spotter sessions. We need more storm spotters, so please encourage that. 10 in the morning tomorrow and 7 o'clock at night, depending on which one is more convenient for you. Temperatures today, you know, if we make it through, the month of December, Merle Haggard, but it's in the month of April here. Lower 30s across much of the area. Lake Erie shoreline will be a little bit warmer, relatively speaking. Mid 30s here, but this is nowhere where it should be. Very cold and windy. How about the next 7 days of your life that are coming up on the screen right now? 36 tomorrow, 50 on Thursday. Here comes our next storm system. Will be milder Thursday. Friday should be mainly dry. The weekend's looking wet at this particular time. And again, not a single one of those temperatures near where we should be. But again, it looks like this pattern will continue for a while down the road. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at noon. Have a good day.